10 are present, Your Honor.
All right. We have a quorum. Alderman Slottick is excused. He's traveling. And Alderman Dwayne, I just talked to him recently, and he was going to try and make it, but as many of you know, his father is ill, and that's much more important. So I think that's where he is going to be this evening. With that said, if we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the blessings you've bestowed upon all of us here in Green Bay. And while we know we have challenges, both personally and throughout the community, we ask for your help and guidance as we work to collectively lift all lives. Tonight, we pray for those who are suffering, especially those affected by the shootings in Las Vegas. Be with those who've lost loved ones and all who have been injured. We ask you to watch our protective services as they put their lives on the line every day to protect us all. I also ask you to be with those who do mission work throughout the world. We pray tonight for a group of people from Green Bay who will be traveling to Myanmar tomorrow to help children who are without parents and lack basic needs of food, housing, and clean water. We're grateful for all those who give of their time and talents to lift the lives of their fellow man. We're grateful for so many people, especially our military and those serving on the USS Green Bay. We ask this all in your name. Amen. All right, with that, we'll proceed. I will now entertain a motion for approval of the minutes of the September 19th meeting. There's a motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderperson Dorff. Any corrections, deletions? Seeing no lights, all in favor of those minutes, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it, and the minutes for the September 19th meeting have been approved. We're now on to approval of the agenda. There's a motion by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderman Dave Nenning, for approval of the agenda. Any things you want to look at here? Seeing no lights, all in approval of that motion, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it, and the agenda before you has been approved.
Report by the mayor.
Just two things. I was running late tonight for a good reason, and I did get here on time. Ben's Wish is having their fundraiser and that event, and I think, you guys have gone to that in the past, and it's just a group of students and their parents that really work to pack food for children every weekend. 720 kids are fed every weekend through Ben's Wish, and I just told Peter that I would mention that tonight at council. Two other things. As you saw the board on the way in tonight, the American Heart Association, the Heart Balls, in February, but right now is their fundraising campaign. And you know how we are in this city about heart disease and stroke prevention and obviously the number one killer. So on that board, and I really invite the public to stop in too down at our Welcome Center, but there's a board and from 1 to 100, and if you take the 20 and put $20 in there, then you can put a little note up there, and so we can honor you and thank you. And that board's going to be up for the next couple weeks. It's kind of being run by some people in the city, and we very much support that and just invite the council, if they want to participate, or collectively, like Sixth Floor did, to buy a $50 number, 75. But it's on there for us to support the American Heart Association. And lastly, we talked last month about the snowplow rodeo, and just want to report that Darren Olson, who's our guy, he came in 12th in the National Snowplow Rodeo, and that's very competitive. Phoenix and Hawaii, they don't enter, but I think there's 40 states that enter that, and we've got the 12th best driver in the United States. So I just want to give Darren a shout out. That concludes my report.
We're on to announcements.
Any announcements? I see no lights, so we'll continue.
We're on to public hearings. Zoning ordinance number 13-17, an ordinance rezoning property located at 2996 Finger Road from low-density residential district to neighborhood center district.
So is there anyone here who would like to speak to this zoning ordinance 13-17? Is there anyone wishing to be heard? Anyone wishing to be heard? Then we'll let the record show no one came forward.
You may, under suspension of the rules, take up item 19 with a roll call vote.
Move to suspend.
All right, so we have a motion by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderman Nenning to suspend the rules for that purpose. All in favor of suspension, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. The rules are now suspended. Motion to adopt by Alderman Scannell. Motion to adopt, and that was seconded by Alderman Stoyer. If you'd please use the board here. This is ordinance 1317, item 19 in your packet. All right, and that passes unanimously. Thank you.
We're on to referral of petitions and communications. On page 1 of your packet, you have all petitions and communications received by the clerk's office by noon on Thursday. We will now accept any late communications you may have.
We'll begin with Alderman Weary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have one for Plan Commission. Due to a new or revised state law, ascertain what changes may be needed to the short-term rental ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Scannell.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is to Personnel Committee to change the procedure we use at Common Council concerning how we handle committee reports and recommendations by adopting a consent agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderperson Dorf.
I have two, Your Honor. To Traffic Bike Pedestrian Committee, to request that the city traffic engineer work with the Traffic Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee to develop a plan to enable students to safely cross Laverne toward the southern boundary of the Baird School property without requiring them to go to the controlled intersection at Humboldt, which necessitates crossing up to 3 additional uncontrolled intersections. And the second one, to Protection and Welfare, to request that the Protection and Welfare Committee review the ordinance that allows only 2 dogs per household and consider a change to allow up to 3 dogs per household.
Thank you. Go to Alderman Stoyer.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is to Fire and DPW. To look into the possibility of the fire department selling their property at 130 North Henry with the further possibility of combining the fire department garage with the West Side DPW garage.
All right, thank you. Alderperson Dorf, did you have anything else? Alderman Stoyer.
Okay.
Alderman Joe Moore.
Thanks, Your Honor. This is for the Legal Department, Finance Department, and your office. Number 1, draft a resolution supporting leniency in the ADA rules regarding closed captioning for government entities who live stream committee meetings. Number 2 is to contact Representative Gallagher's office and lobby for legislation, which would provide a greater level of open government and also provide significant budgetary savings by exempting municipalities from having to close caption live streams of committee and council meetings. And number 3, to provide a minimum $100,000 in the 2018 budget as a contingency in case enforcement of ADA compliancy regarding closed captioning is put into effect.
All right, thank you. And Alderman Zima.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm requesting that the President and Vice President of the Council work with myself and the next senior member of the Council to explore the possibility of purchasing and remodel of the Chase Banking property between Washington and Adams Streets for the purpose of meeting the needs of the police department.
All right, thank you. Chris, do you have any late communications?
No, I do not.
All right, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to refer all petitions and communication by Alderman Weary, second by Alderman Scannell. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it, and all petitions and communications have been referred to the proper authorities.
Reports for council action. Report of the Park Committee.
And what are your wishes regarding this report? There's a motion by Alderman Nicholson, seconded by Alderperson Dorf, to approve the report of the Green Bay Park Committee for the meeting held on Wednesday, September 27th. Any items in this report you wish to handle separately? Item 1. Okay, hearing none others, all in favor of the remainder of that report, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. Item 2 has been approved. What are your wishes regarding item 1? Motion to adopt by Alderman Zima, seconded by Alderman Stoyer. Alderman Zima, can you turn your light off? Alderman Scannell, you pulled that.
I'd like to make a motion that we continue with deaccessioning this monument and that the contents that were placed in the monument be removed and cataloged, and then we address what's the appropriate way to deal with those contents. It seems to me the only thing that has changed from when we unanimously decided to deaccession this monument is that we found out there were things put into the monument. For myself, that's only one more reason to deaccession this monument. Those items, there is no plan that was presented that includes putting something in that monument. I believe it was done inappropriately, without any oversight, without any authorization. If we were going to do something like that, where we're going to put something in the monument, it should have been done public. It should have been it should have been open to people to come forward to bring things if they wanted it put in. We don't even know what's all in it. I think the monument is in terrible shape. We need to do something with it. I think the sooner the better. I think it's very disrespectful the way it is now. We've waited way too long on this. I think we should just continue with deaccessioning it, remove the contents and find out what's in there, and then figure out what to do with those. As far as another monument, right now the beam is being temporarily stored, and there was talk, it was just talk of possibly building a new monument in the new public safety building to protect it from the weather. There are other artifacts of 9/11 around the country, and those are all housed. There aren't many that are exposed to the elements. But certainly, if we want another 9/11 monument on that site or any other site, that can certainly be done and determined later. I don't think how that plays into any part at all into finishing deaccessioning this monument, which I think when we looked at trying to repair it, it just wasn't worth it. And I don't think to repair it and leave that tube with its contents in there is appropriate. So my motion is to deaccession, remove the tube, catalog the contents, and then address how to deal with them.
Point of order,
Yeah,
Chairman.
yes. Alderman, yeah, go ahead.
I believe there is a motion on the
Right,
floor. Didn't I hear a
I'm
motion
good.
to adopt in a second?
Yep, I'm gonna clear that right now with him. I wanted him to finish, didn't know if he was offering an amendment. I think what would be,
It wouldn't,
right, I got it. I think what would be appropriate is what you're talking about is something different than what's on the floor. I
Floor,
think you should
right.
vote this up or down,
right.
and
So let me rephrase that. I don't support this for this reason, and then I'd like to
I
make
understand.
a motion if we can receive and place this on file. So I'd make a motion that we receive and place this on file.
okay, so we have a
Point of order, I don't believe that has precedent. I believe if you want to refer it back, would, but could we have clarification, please?
We've received, placed on file.
Thanks, Mayor.
The only thing that a motion to receive and place on file is primary to is a main motion. So yes, it does take precedence.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so the motion on the floor is to receive and place on file item 1. Do you have anything else you want to add to that?
Well, just a few things, and if we're going to talk about the motion. I find the motion kind of problematical in a number of
Well, we're on your motion now. The motion on the
to receive
floor.
and place on file, and the reason
Yes.
to receive and
Okay.
place on file is other parts of this motion. It says to research the historic documentation of what's been placed in the memorial, but how can we research what we don't know? We don't even know what's all in there. How can you research what's all in there without knowing what's in there? And then the second half, with acknowledging the commitments of the donor group, those commitments, we have no documentation on that. We do have what they say their commitments were, but there's no supporting documentation. And I'm sure those are probably accurate in the commitments they made, but before I would support going forward with this, I would want more proof of just what those commitments were. I mean, I don't know if they're going from memory, and if their memory's false, or if they misinterpret some things. I would want some further, there must be some documentation with New York with the commitments they made. I would like to see those documents before going forward with anything like this. So for those reasons, I don't support this motion, and
You support the motion on the floor, which is to receive and
Receive,
place on
but,
file. Okay.
yeah.
All right,
Yep.
be clear on that. Thank you.
Yep.
Would Alderman Weary?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Classic case of jumping the gun here, I think. We always want committees to do the work, and then before we even really get to work on it, now we want to can it. I would ask just allow the park committee to handle this item. We're handling it right now. Be patient. What's a few months, a few weeks, whatever it would take. Allow us to do some thorough research. Barb Jacks has been in contact. She would like to meet once. And so we're trying to coordinate this meeting with someone from the Parks Department, probably Dan Ditscheit and myself, but perhaps Alderman Zemmer or someone else from the Parks Committee, the Parks Chairman, and get it done all at once. It's probably going to take a couple hours. She has a lot of information. So I would ask you to be patient for that. I did get an email yesterday, 9:05 p.m. last night, from retired Lieutenant Joe Torillo of the New York City Fire Department. He was actually someone who survived both towers coming down. He's representing the USA at the trial of the 5 terrorists who orchestrated some of the attacks. He has information on the steel. He raised the first $10,000. He has a lot of information here that literally just got, and he's willing to fly out here to talk about it. So he's astounded we would even consider tearing it down. He would like to talk about it and shed some light on it. So more information's coming in. Give us time. I think that we owe it to that. Thanks.
Thank you. Alderman Joe Moore?
Thanks, Your Honor. I actually, I support decommissioning what's existing there, and I would like to see something better go there. I think that if this is going to go back to Parks and it's going to, and I would support that. I think it should go back. We should do our work, see what's there. But in the meantime, I really think we should take that granite veneer and remove it. I think that the cracked veneer, the faded names, the incorrect information, incorrect flight numbers, that's what's so disrespectful. I think that if all of that granite is removed now while the work is going, I think that would be a positive step that could, again, it would bring some respectability, even if it's just a concrete foundation with the towers on top of it. That's much more respectful than what is presented at that site right now. So I do support sending this back to Parks, and I would ask that we can find a way, a cost estimate, whatever it might be, if it's just disposal, and a couple guys with a couple sledgehammers to get out there and get it cleaned up. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alderman Bill Galvin?
Thank you, Your Honor. I also agree with Joe and Randy. I think we need to pursue decommissioning it. It still sounds like there's not a lot of cooperation from some of the people that were involved with the originally building it. They're refusing to give the public the information that they deserve. This is a public memorial. All that information should be public for everyone to see, not just committees. And I think until we can actually determine, since they haven't been totally honest with us, it seems, that we need to know exactly what is inside that memorial. And having the marble up there, if someone sees that and stops by to take a look at it, they're going to be dismayed at what they see. And I agree, removing the marble is the first part of that. But I also think that we can't move forward until we know exactly what's in there and what is the legal and the right way to handle those materials. Thank you.
Thank you. So the motion on the floor is to receive and place on file. Okay. Alderman Nenning?
Thank you, Your Honor. At the Park Committee, I advocated to hold this up for a couple of weeks to gather facts. I think there were interesting questions raised at the last meeting, and I really felt that our committee, to do its work, ought to be getting some of the facts. Now, there's the question of what's in it, and we don't have a lot of records here at the city. Now, one individual who was involved in it at the time has said that there are various things in it. I guess, you know, I think we need to ask some questions about that. You know, when was it put in? Who was aware of it? You know, at the city level, we've had a lot of changes of personnel since that thing was built. We have a new public works director, a new park director, a new city attorney, a new chief of staff, and various other positions. So, you know, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of records that we've been able to find here at the city. I think we also want to know, did the city make a commitment? It's been said that we made a commitment to have the monument there for 100 years. It's also been said that if we remove it from that site, as we've done, that it would need to be returned to New York City. Well, I'd like to check that out so we know one way or another what the commitment is. But in any case, there is one new, at our park committee last week, the individual who could probably share some information, who was involved in it originally, didn't want to speak at the public meeting, but I think she was willing to meet privately with people and answer questions and, you know, have us share that information with our colleagues, so, and with the public. I think she just didn't want to speak about it at another public meeting. And, you know, I can respect that, but I think we do have to follow through on that. I also agree with Alderman Moore that maybe we could remove the cracked granite, and you know, what would it look like if the cracked granite was removed? You know, it may not be necessary to have have granite that's inscribed with over 3,000 names on it, because that did add considerably to the cost. Now, there is one new fact that did come out at our park committee meeting last week, and I'll just share this. Our staff did find an email in the file from one of the members of the donor group. It was an email to our park staff that outlined commitments from the city for the city to get the monument. And one of those was that the site must be visible from a major traveled road or street. The memorial cannot be hid behind another memorial, trees, buildings, or other structures. The site must have easy access from a street or road. There must be adequate 24-hour free parking relatively close to the site, which includes adjacent street parking, 25 parking spaces minimum. Easy bus turnaround or adequate bus parking must be provided. You know, all of these things that were in the city records in the park department do show a commitment by the city to those items. And I'm not sure that the public safety building proposal that we've been talking about would include all these things, bus parking and all of that. So personally, I think that this is a situation where in 2009, the park committee and council had said, you know, if you can raise the money to repair the monument, you know, that would be acceptable to the city. It wasn't raised at that time, although the individual that was at our committee indicated a willingness to keep working on it, to work on it again. And I think that the circumstances are such that if there's a donor committee that's willing to work on it, perhaps with support of some of the council members that have brought this forward, and are able to raise the necessary funds, you know, I can see keeping a monument at that location, but it has to be well designed. When you put a monument in, you expect it to have some permanence, and this one obviously didn't. It began deteriorating very, very quickly. You know, at the park committee, as those of us on the park committee know, whenever we receive a donation, and we receive donations frequently, we always put conditions on those. And for example, there was an Eagle Scout that wanted to build a boardwalk at Baird Creek Parkway. And we put all kinds of conditions on there, that all costs are the responsibility of the donor group, that all proper hold harmless agreements and permits are obtained, that all materials and supplies meet city building codes, that the park staff would approve of the design and installation plans, so. you
We've
know,
got
I-
about 30 seconds here, I want to be
Okay,
consistent, so.
I
yeah,
think
go
all of
ahead.
those things are conditions we should put on this donation if funds are raised as well. So I guess I'm not going to support the motion to receive and place it on file. I don't think that really resolves the issue.
Right.
Although I would support referring it back to committee if someone wants to do that.
Thank you. Alderman Stoyer?
Thank you, Your Honor. I know the Park Department's been working on this fairly diligently, and I know this has been a tough issue for a number of folks. I do have concerns, as Alderman Scannell mentioned, about, some of these items that were found after the fact. I do have concerns about that. I also have concerns about the inaccuracies, as Alderman Moore brought forward. But I concur with Alderman Weary and Alderman Nenning on this. I feel that the Park Department needs some more time on this, and I think that they will do a good job getting the information that we need to do a correct vote. So I will not support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Denning, I think you're on Stoyer. Alderman Scannell, did you want to speak again on this? This is on receive, place, and file.
Yep. I would just like to ask if I could amend this motion, if we referred it back, could I amend the motion to say that we refer this back, but we would amend it to that we would immediately remove the granite from the monument? Is that, even though we're referring that a motion back to parks, can we make a part of it something that's actionable right away, or does that amendment work?
Well, I mean, I would accept that, but at what cost? You want to cap it?
Well,
Where's the money coming from?
I think to remove the granite, it would just be our public works. They were going to do that. They were going to deaccession it. It was public works that was going to take it down. I believe they could just remove the granite, right? No, not true.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
that's good to know. All right.
That's not the motion before us.
Right.
hang on, it's his motion. You have a motion on the floor to receive and place on
Place on
file. Again, you want to refer it with some contingencies, but if there's cost or you're making some assumptions that if there's cost, I think you got to address it as a council, and you can, to give us the direction.
Right.
Point of order, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
The motion from the committee included all of what you're talking about. This hasn't been, the final decision hasn't been made. It's still at the committee level. The motion as it's presented, it is still, it's referred back automatically because it's part of the work of the committee.
But
And
he's
so
saying.
I don't know what all this posturing and maneuvering and thinking on the floor and changing your mind and all kinds of stuff. It's really getting to be a little too much.
All right.
He
Thank
made
you.
a motion, received and placed on file. Let's vote on it.
Well, it's his motion. He wanted to amend it to refer it back, but he wanted to make a stronger motion than is presently there.
Good,
So,
yes.
You have to write it for him, Your Honor.
Well, I would change things from to work towards preserving the existing 9/11 monument. I would like a motion that we further investigate the making of the monument in every particular, and that we immediately, and that we,
hang on.
It's all in there.
that's not in there.
There's a motion, of course it is. Research.
Come on.
Well, no,
How can
that's
you
restore,
float
no,
under
that's
the floor
not,
here?
that's not what it says.
Okay, you have
We're
the
not
floor.
researching
Your
it.
motion's on the floor, so
Okay.
we can either go with that, or if you want to change it to offer an amendment, or if you want to withdraw it, whatever you want to do, we got to get moving.
Right. Okay. If this is going back to parks, so there'd be no reason to say refer back to parks. I would withdraw the receive and place on file and make a motion to amend this to say, to take out, to work towards preserving the existing 9/11 monument. If that happens, that happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't think we need to direct staff to do that. I think what we need to do is find out, we don't want to research the documentation. We want to research the making of the monument, which might be more than documentation. Maybe that's splitting hairs, but historic documentation is these documents are historical and we're going to research them.
Okay.
I think it's,
He's been floundering.
Just wait, no, it's
I'm-
right, I
no,
think we got
I'm trying-
it, I got
Floundering
it.
for 10 minutes now.
It's actually 1:32, it's not 10 minutes, feels like it, but.
yeah. But, all right,
Okay, tell you
I
what,
think that-
you,
I think
you
that-
withdrew your motion, I wanna help you out a little bit.
Yep.
And he wants to strike, so your amendment is to strike the first, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 words and begin with to direct staff. So, and you also want to amend it to research the historic documentation and making of the monument and what's placed in there.
and come up with the costs and what it would take to remove the granite as soon as possible.
I got it. Do you want to restate it, or we need a second on that to proceed? All right, so the motion on the floor is to begin item 1 with to direct staff, so we're taking out the first thing. After historic documentation and making of the monument, we're gonna add those 3 words in there. And at the end, and come up with costs as soon as possible.
To remove the granite.
Right. So that's the motion on the floor, you guys. Nate? Alderman Nenning? Wait, hang on.
I didn't have anything, Your Honor.
Nope, it's not.
What's wrong with this thing?
No.
Last week was the same thing.
I got Alderman Nenning, and then next is Alderman Scannell, and next is Alderman Stoyer. That is what is queued up right now.
I didn't press it again, I'll pass.
Try it one more time.
Is mine on?
It is not.
Well, I pushed it 5, 6 times. I'm gonna do it again.
Alderman Zima, I just replaced his battery, Mike.
Replace the battery for the last meeting. Battery's dead.
I don't know what to tell you. Can you turn yours off then?
Yeah, I did.
How come Denning's light's not going off?
It froze. Sorry. I think the screen froze again, like last time. I mean, I can get rid of it. They had trouble too. They did? Yeah. I don't remember that going forward. They called me. Did they? Yeah. Well, then how did they figure it out? Joe come from Connecting Point. Okay. So
Right.
should I clear everyone's name? And
Yes.
then I can call him, but Mike is here tonight.
Oh, Mike's here.
Okay, so if
right.
everyone who wants to talk.
You cleared it. Could you, so the motion on the floor is, and we'll start with Alderman Nicholson.
Thank you. I guess, Mary, you understand the motion. Could you explain the difference between the motion and what is on our desk here from the Park Committee?
Yes. The Alderman's motion, he wants to explore the research documentation, but he also wants to add into research the making of the monument. He, at the same time, wants to come up with costs as soon as possible to remove the granite. And in terms of preserving the monument, he wanted to strike that, given that will come out of the actions in the motion. So he's striking one thing and adding 2.
Got it. All right, thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Mike, his light is still not on. Alderperson Dorf,
Thank you, Your Honor. I am very much in
your light's
favor
on.
of having a 9/11 monument. I think it's important, and I think it's important that we have one in this city. I agree with definitely striking to work toward preserving the existing 9/11 monument. It may end up back in the same place, and it may not, but I think that puts too closed of parameters on where this monument might go if we have that right in the first line. So I'm glad that that was taken out of the current motion. And I too agree that to have something with misinformation on it is not respectful, and to get rid of the granite and the things that are incorrect on that monument would be a top priority for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Zima?
Thank you, Your Honor. I consider this whole last 10, 15 minutes as preposterous. It's preposterous on its face. This wrangling that's going around, this kind of phony politics, I've never seen anything like it. The motion is simple, to work towards preserving the existing monument. If you don't want to do that, then vote no. I don't know. I think the public is interested in seeing whatever problems with it corrected, including whatever small pieces of misinformation. The monument has been there for, well, what, 12 years? No one has ever complained about some small piece of misinformation on it that I'm aware of. Well, you're making a funny look at me, Your Honor.
Oh, it's not
Will you
funny.
stop making faces? Okay.
We've gotten
I
complaints.
think what's disrespectful is tearing it down. This was a big deal, and I'll tell you, I was there the day that site was picked. The old Packer receiver was sitting there. And Mayor, you and I were both there. I've got pictures, by the way, that were given to me of you and I. We were examining the site over there, and we were looking at the Lights Park side of it. But there was some problems with the soil there, and we were walking around all together, Ms. Jacks, yourself, myself, some staff, etc. And Ms. Jacks made the statement. She said, you know, if that Packer player wasn't there, that would be a great spot. And you kind of swung your head around. She said, what did you say? And would that suit you? And she said, yes. And you said, it's done. That was your words. To that effect. Where's that effect? It's done. And we worked toward building that. And of course, it was the first in the nation at that point in time, I believe. It was to be a prototype. They're trying to work out the kinks in it. And it was left to neglect, really, for the last 6, 7, 8 years. Because they did raise some money to try to make some improvements to it. Whether it was enough or not, I don't know. But, you know, the committee unanimously made the motion to work towards preserving the existing 911 monument and to direct the staff to research the historic documentation of what was placed in the memorial. And for one of our members to say that, well, that people were not honest with us is really a stretch. They just didn't want to talk about, they thought were personal things that were put into it. I actually didn't know that. But I saw pictures of a tube that was sent into it. It doesn't really matter. What really matters is, are you for having that monument in the city of Green Bay to the remembrance as a, I believe it's a tourist attraction. I believe it's something very positive. You saw anybody who saw the Packer game, and I talked to a lot of people that were there. They said they never saw anything as dramatic as that. They did not buffalo the public. They weren't going to have everybody arm in arm. The whole stadium refused to go along with that canard.
Point of order, what's this?
Yeah, I was waiting to tie that back.
I think people feel the same way about the 911 monument.
Okay.
And the public was darn near unanimous in how they felt at the Packer game, and I think they feel that way about this too. Most of the people said that they hadn't heard anybody. I only spoke to one person that didn't like it. I'm sure there might be a few others. I don't know. It would be hard to get a unanimous decision of anything. But This is what it is. It's going back to the committee. It's asking for costs and options for repairs and
You get 30
and
seconds.
costs and the whole ball of wax. What are we doing talking about here? What's all this subterfuge going on? It's at the committee. There's no final decision made. There's plenty of room for talking about all kinds of things back at the committee. I'm opposed to the amendment, and I think we should pass it as was recommended unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Yep, it's your motion. It's on the floor. You can speak twice to it. This is your second time.
As far as being disrespectful for deassessing that, we had a unanimous vote on that, so I don't know how an alder can say that we are being disrespectful. The whole body at one time thought that was the most respectful thing to do. I don't, as far as Ms. Jakes and calling her dishonest, I don't believe anybody has done that. What I have said is that the tube was put in there without any authorization from the city, without any oversight from the city. No one knew it was there. And that was inappropriate. And
Come on, just, you
that
got
was
zero
inappropriate,
motion on the
and
floor.
that
Let's
I
knock it
believe
off.
we need to address that, and I believe we need to remove it, which is one reason why I think we still need to deaccession, but I can hold off on that to get further information on it before we go there. That's fine, but I would like to see the granite removed, because I think that is, as far as people not coming forward about how terrible that monument, for 3 years I've been in Alder, and that's all I've heard. From the beginning, is that it's in terrible shape, and it's disrespectful, and when are we gonna do something about it? Alder Weary put in a communication over a year ago with hearing the same things from constituents. So to say that people haven't spoken about how terrible the shape is, or disrespectful that is, I think is, I don't know what that is, but it's wrong. So, thank you.
So you're supporting the motion. All right. And Alderman Weary?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad Alderman Scannell reminded everybody that I did put that in about a year ago. I actually put in a request, I think, for $80,000 to fix it and to move on because something had to be done. But I think the time to do it, if we were so concerned about that marble, was when we had some funds available, but it got voted down. And thank God we put lights in Whitney Park instead of fixing the monument that everybody's so concerned about now. Now they're concerned about it. Back then, when we actually had a lot of money to do something, no, we couldn't do it then. So I don't know if the concern now is quite so genuine as it seems. I would ask just leave the monument be, give the committee time to do some work. Thanks.
All right, thank you. And Alderman Stoyer?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just looking at this agenda item, I mean, they're talking about present option for repairs. Now, the repairs could be repair it, or you could take away the marble. I mean, that's the option, I feel. I agree with Alder Zima on that everything's right there. Let's just vote on this.
All right, thank you. So the motion on the floor is an amendment. It's offering amendment on item 1, and the first part of the amendment is to strike the first 9 words, to work to preserving the monument. So we start with to direct staff. The second part of the amendment is to add, research the historic documentation and the making of the monument. And the third part of his amendment is to come up with a cost as soon as possible to remove the granite. And that is what I would like you to vote on. Yes vote supports the amendment, and no vote doesn't. So that motion fails by a vote of 4 to 6. So we're back to the original motion. Was that? Yes. Was there a motion and a second for the original? Oh, you're right, it was okay, I just want to make note. So Alderman Zima, seconded by Alderman Stoyer to approve item 1. Alderman Zima asked me to use the board. right? And that passes by a vote of 9-1, all right? Clerk, let's continue.
Report of the Plan Commission.
There's a motion by Alderman Nenning, seconded by Alderman Scannell, to approve the report of the Green Bay Plan Commission. That was for the meeting held on Monday, September 25th. Any items in this report you wish to handle separately? Seeing no lights, all in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it, that report's been approved.
Report of the Redevelopment Authority.
Motion by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderman Galvin, to approve the report of the Green Bay Redevelopment Authority for the meeting held on Tuesday, September 26th. Any questions here? All in favor of? Okay.
Is there a dollar amount? I mean, did they come up with a dollar amount?
We're just holding that. We had a pretty good meeting with them yesterday, but it'll become,
Are you working on it, or is it?
oh, yeah,
Okay, well, that's what I'm asking.
yep. All right, all right. So we have a motion and a second to approve item 1. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it, that report's been approved.
To receive and place on file a report of the TID Joint Review Board.
Motion by Alderman Moore, second by Alderman Scannell. Lights here. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it.
Report of the Traffic, Bicycle, and Pedestrian Commission.
There's a motion by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderman Stoyer, to approve the report of the Traffic, Bicycle, and Pedestrian Commission meeting that took place on Monday, September 18th. Are there any items in this report you wish to handle separately? Seeing no lights, all in favor of that report, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it, that report's been approved.
Report of the Finance Committee.
All right, there's a motion by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderman Moore, to approve the report of the Finance Committee for the meeting held on Tuesday, September 26th. Any items here you wish to handle separately? Seeing no lights, all in favor of that report, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it, that report has been approved.
Report of the Improvement and Service Committee.
All right, we have a motion by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderperson Dorff, to approve the report of the Improvement and Service Committee for the meeting held on September 27th. Any items in this report you wish to handle separately? Item 8. And item 3. Hearing none others, all in favor of the remainder of that report, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it. All items have been approved with the exception of item 3 and 8. What are your wishes regarding item 3? Is a motion to approve by Alderman Scannell, seconded by Alderman Stoyer. Alderman Zima.
Thank you, Your Honor. I know I spoke with our director, and I just want to review that again with him. I guess anybody who's been stuck on that bridge when a coal boat is coming through knows what it is, that you just can't get turned around. We have that capacity on the Main Street Bridge, and you'll often see whenever it's coming through, people are turning around and going in a different direction or deciding to do something else and cross the bridge later or whatever. But when you get stuck on the Mason Street Bridge, you're just stuck, and sometimes it's 15 minutes or more. And I guess I was looking to see as well, can we take out a couple of sections of barrier there so that the same thing that happens conveniently for people on the Main Street Bridge could happen there. Now, it's my understanding, if it's correct, Mr. Director, is that we don't have any say-so about it. We can't even request it until a new repair is taking place.
Alderman Director Grenier, you want to comment on this?
Correct. That's not our bridge. It's Wisconsin Department of Transportation's bridge.
Right.
We did that very thing as part of the original communication. The response we got back from them is, in short, was no. As an official request inquiry on behalf of the city, that's exactly what it was.
It just seems like it's a small thing that could really make a good improvement.
Well, for the reasons that they outlined in the memo that they sent back to us that I provided to the committee, my professional opinion, I don't think a resolution or any action by the common council is going to carry any more weight, but if you wish to do that, you can.
I guess I can make a motion to refer it back to consider a resolution. I don't,
Yeah, I'm going to get Steve off And you,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Well, I think most people can identify with what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had the requests from the public, and it was brought to me really over the past few years, and I just never did anything about it. But I finally, I was just caught one last time on it, and I thought, oh, boy. I was going somewhere that needed to be a doctor's appointment, and I'd run a little close, and all of a sudden, oh, wow, I'm stuck here. As it worked out anyway, but
Okay.
I think most people can identify with it, and I'm just thinking, well, if we can get
Right.
somebody to take us a little more seriously, and not just official communication requesting, because it sounds like, well, the next maintenance they're gonna do on it is, I think you said 12 years from now, something like that?
Right. So
Yeah,
you,
I'll be 83 at the time, so I don't know, it's a long time to wait, because it is a big, big inconvenience, and I think that's a drawback for the city. So
Okay.
I make a motion for it back and put a resolution together and see if we can get their attention.
all right, so there was a motion by Alderman Zima, second by Alderman Moore to refer this item back, and draft a resolution. Maybe we want to discuss that. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nay. Alderman Zima, if you could turn off, your light, and then we're on to item 8. What are your wishes regarding item 8? Motion to approve by Alderman Scannell. Seconded by Alderman Nicholson. Alderman Moore.
Thanks, Your Honor. In regards to parcel 6, I had met with this constituent several times over the last several years as this plan was being put into place on these properties. And I had made a request to our real estate specialist to take a look at the opportunity of relocating this property and moving it to the, I believe it's on the 1200 block of North Clay. There's a vacant parcel that actually shares the alley that he's on right now. I thought that perhaps lifting that home up and moving it to the other side of the block would possibly be a cost savings over the $100,000 plus purchase price here. I just don't know if that work was ever done, if Dr. Vonk is aware if that work was done, if we have that quote, but I would like to see that come forward and see a cost comparison here.
You prepared to do that tonight, or you want to refer this parcel back, or how do you want to proceed tonight?
Well, these are offering prices. I
Right.
would like to offer an alternative, to this parcel owner. And this, I mean, it's been plenty of notice.
Right.
6-8 months ago is, I think, when I made that request. So I'm not just pulling it tonight for the first time or anything.
You wouldn't do that. Dr. Vonk, do you want to comment on that?
Yes, I will check my records. I do not have, I'm not up to date on requests to move that facility, but I think I can talk with a real estate specialist and see if that work was done or completed or where that turned out in terms of their recommendation.
I don't believe we need to change the motion. Know it as it is. Just wanted to get that clarity and make
Right.
sure that we do offer that option to that homeowner.
All right, we'll do.
Thank you.
All right, so with that, we have a motion and a second to approve item 8. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. Item 8's been approved.
Report of the Personnel Committee.
All right, there's a motion by Alderman Scannell, seconded by Alderman Galvin, to approve the report of the Personnel Committee. That was for their meeting held on Tuesday, September 26th. Any items in this report you wish to handle separately? Item 3. All right, hearing none others, all in favor of the remainder of that report, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. And all items have been approved with the exception of 3 and 4. And what are your wishes regarding item 3? Motion to approve by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderman Galvin. Alderman Zima.
Thank you, Your Honor. The committee had a presentation of the new hardware, and probably more than half the council was not there. My concerns of all along have been that I don't think we meant to vote this way, if we did even vote this way, but that it was going to reduce our minutes to just motions and how the various council members voted. Because it seems that the committee seems to be of the, at least the staff seems to be of the idea that, well, if you want any information more than that, you've got to go look on the website, which of course you can't download and have anything written. So I don't know if this was just a presentation or is approving this. I mean, I have no problem approving the fact that they gave a presentation. But is there anything, I guess, included in this by approving it?
Is there anything included in it?
I mean, they made a presentation that, you know, all of this stuff is gonna be online.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't there, but, yeah.
But, you know, I feel very strongly that we still have to have written minutes as we've had, and maybe even improve on them. But the bare minimum is to at least continue what we've been doing, and I think the clerk's office is of the opinion that, well, when we passed this, that all those minutes were gonna stop. Now, they haven't completely stopped yet. But I mean, what, does this mean anything here other than that they gave a presentation?
Yeah, you know what, I couldn't make the meeting. I think this was addressed some time ago, but, Alderman Moore? I'll get to you in a second.
Thanks, Your Honor. So the agenda item was just the presentation, and at the previous meeting, it was discussed that the minutes would be, you know, going to the video where you've got taglines on the video and search bars, and you could find exactly what you need on there. We wanted to see a demonstration of that, and that's why it came to us. This agenda item is really just receiving and placing on file the, you know, that video, that presentation that we got. We approved the software months and months and months ago. I mean, that's already in the works. And as far as any communications regarding the meeting minutes, we've not received any communications regarding meeting minutes. And I would certainly welcome that at our committee. If we want to create a policy or a standard on meeting minutes to come before us, I think that needs to be its own agenda item.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Alderman Stoyer?
Thank you, Your Honor. Alderman Moore, you took those words that I was gonna state, and you know, like I said, it was more or less a presentation. You know, if we wanna extend and talk about actual minutes, that could be at a future time. That is my understanding on this.
Right.
This was for more or less just something we voted on a while ago. We just had a presentation, and we just accept that as the presentation, period. It was more for information. That's my take.
Thank you. Alderman Zima?
Well, Your Honor, I didn't have any problem with the purchase of the equipment and making that capacity for any and all to go look at it. I really didn't have any idea that this might, it sounds like it hasn't been totally approved yet, remove all of our paper minutes that we receive in our packets on Saturdays or sometimes not till Monday. And I just think it's very cumbersome if we're not going to have any minutes.
I think that's a separate issue. So you put communication and we'll
but-
talk about it. So
well-
vote no. I mean,
No, no, just-
we've been on it for a while.
well, no,
We
I'm
are
not
receiving
voting
and
no.
placing on file a presentation.
I want to know what that entails.
Weren't you there? I heard you were there.
Yeah, I was there. You weren't there,
No.
so what's your problem?
What do you mean what it entails? You were there. You saw the presentation.
Well,
And do you want to
yeah,
receive
well,
and place and file or not?
I thought the equipment was terrific, but I don't think it should replace the minutes. And does this mean, is this system, is it intended to replace our minutes?
You know what? Why don't you put
Do you
in a
know that or
communication?
not?
I do
Could
not.
you answer that question?
I do not.
You do not know it, so you approve that expenditure without knowing that.
You voted on it. I mean, I'm the one who provided all
Well,
the
you
minutes to the meeting.
voted for it too, you didn't veto it.
Okay.
So you
All
don't
right.
know what it is.
We have a motion and a second to, you could need to put a communication to go about the minutes. I think that's what you're after here, and this is approving the presentation. So you can vote no on this, but I think we gotta get moving. Okay.
I want to know.
Then put in a communication. I'm not, it's not on, look, he knows that.
What are we going to get? Actually, just call the vote.
Right, we are. Okay. you can use the board on this. This is to approve item 3, and you put a communication regarding that. Oh, I'm sorry, Alderman Weary.
Thank you. It'll be short. I mean, I'm in favor of it. I like what the software can do. And so it's about the presentation. That's fine. I like the new technology. I am concerned that it could do a disservice. Obviously, we'd have to watch 2 or 3 hours of a video, maybe for one committee instead of reading 2 or 3 pages. I'll gladly put in a communication later to review a policy. I think that's a good idea. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so there's a motion, a second to approve item 3 if you use the board on this. All right, and that passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, what are your wishes regarding item 4? All right, there's a motion to approve by Alderman Nenning, seconded by Alderman Scannell. Alderperson Dorf.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I brought the idea to the committee about putting an end certain time on the council meetings of 11 p.m. during those 4 months where we only have one meeting. And if we needed to have more time, then during that same week, we would reconvene on Thursday. So I just wanted to be clear that my intent was not to go back to the regular 2 committees and 2 council meetings. It may accomplish the purpose of having our meetings end at a more reasonable time for the public to be able to comment on what they need to comment on and to stay, but it may not, because the real intent behind it was to have an end certain time for our meetings during those months. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Moore?
Thanks, Your Honor. We had quite a bit of discussion on this, and I think having the 2 committees and 2 council meetings, and I know you like having that little break between, but I don't know that it really is easy for the public to participate in the meetings when they run until after 3 o'clock in the morning. As you see tonight, we're getting a lot of work done here with only 10 members of the council. There's been many times when we've had directors have had their assistants sit in their place. We've seen Commander Ebel, we've seen Chief Goplin sit in at times. The directors have capable assistants and staff that can sit in. It shouldn't affect anybody's kind of vacation schedules or anything like that. And again, like I said, it's a lot easier for the public to participate and be a part of this, you know, and they don't have to step all hours of the night. So I think that this is a wise move for us moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Scannell?
Thank you, and I would just like to make a motion to hold this till our next meeting, because I did put in communication about consent agendas, which may factor into how our meetings are running, how efficient they are and everything. So that might, once that goes through personnel, that may be a factor in deciding this. So I would just like to hold 1 month, or hold till next meeting.
Alderman Stoyer on holding this item for a month? I mean, till next
Well,
meeting?
I was gonna say something else, but I'm fine with that.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second to hold this item until our next council meeting. I'll take this on a voice vote. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nay. All right, ayes have it. We can move on. All right, Chris.
Report of the Protection and Welfare Committee.
There's a motion by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderman Galvin, to approve the report of the Protection and Welfare Committee report for their meeting, which was held on Monday, September 25th. Any items in this report you wish to handle separately? Seeing no lights, all in favor of that report, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. That report's been approved.
Report of the Protection and Welfare Committee granting operator licenses.
There's a motion by Alderman Zima, second by Alderman Scannell, to approve the report granting operating licenses. Are there any names under this report you wish to handle separately? Seeing no lights, all in favor of that report, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. Those licenses have been granted.
We're on to resolutions. You may, under suspension of the rules, adopt resolutions 12 through 15 together with one roll call vote.
All right, there's a motion to suspend by Alderman Ronnie Scannell, seconded by Alderperson Barb Dorf. All in favor of suspension, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. The rules are now suspended. Motion to adopt by Alderman Zima, second by Alderman Scannell. If you use the board on this, please. All right, and those pass unanimously. Thank you.
Ordinances first reading, you may under suspension of the rules advance ordinances 16 through 18 to a third reading.
All right, there's a motion by Alderman Ronnie Scannell, second by Alderman Barb Dorf to suspend the rules for that purpose. All in favor of suspension, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it, the rules are suspended. Motion to advance. Motion to advance by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderman Stoyer. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it, those readings have been advanced. All right,
We're on-
go ahead.
We're on to Committee of the Whole, consideration with possible action on status of Oneida Seven Generations litigation.
We need to talk about this.
Second to section 1985, subparagraph 1, subparagraph G, Wisconsin statute for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel for governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation or is likely to become involved. The council may hereafter convene in open session pursuant to section 1985, subparagraph 2, Wisconsin statute to report the results of the closed session, consider the balance of the agenda.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. If you use the board on this, this is for closed session. All right, that's on a vote of 9-1. So we're going into closed session. Staff, you guys can leave, or, you know, Kevin, you gotta stay. Diana, you gotta stay. Huh? Kevin doesn't need to stay? Oh, did I not hit record? I don't think
Do you know who first and seconded to go into closed session? I didn't hear it.
I thought it was great. I mean, if
You'll be able to shove everything.
if nobody has time. All right.
Yep. Joe Moore on the ADA. Yep, and then.
Of course, the night where I'm like not on city council, I already did an earlier story that they're doing right now, but of course that would be the case. Oh, I did a
different story for 10 tonight. So my package I already did this afternoon, so I'm here just to relay back the information. And of course it would happen so that they meet early where you'd actually have time to like put something together.
So do you have to go back in and change your rules?
It's a completely different story.
Oh,
Yeah, I did Stephen Avery stuff today.
so this would be on the monument, probably what you're doing today. You got plenty of time to put.
I know, which is nice.
Yeah.
People are a little bit opinionated. I can't imagine you being so, but they do.
Well, no, it actually was all really good. Going back and kind of recapping. Stuff, there's some grunt levels. Go back and reread it.
Not so much.
How's your puppy? Sweet. Yeah. Yeah. Really? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah, that was quick. Mike?
What'd he say?
Don't worry about it. Right?
We did 8 hours. Yes. It's not.
Yeah, but it was the true live stream. It should be because it was on. Yeah, so we have. Okay, I didn't know that. So it's ready to be. I didn't know if I got you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to return to regular order. You making the motion? All right, there's a motion by Alderman Weir, seconded by Alderman Stoyer to return to regular order. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nay. So we were in closed session and discussed the Oneida 7 gen situation. Is there a motion on the floor here?
To direct staff to continue looking as discussed.
All right, so we have a motion by Alderman Moore, seconded by Alderman Stoyer. to continue with staff's, direct staff, continue with their recommendation. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, yeah, hang on, Alderman Weary.
Motion to suspend the rules for late communication. Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second to suspend the rules for late communication. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. Alderman Weary. Go ahead.
Thank you. Late communication to Personnel Committee, review and determine or set a city policy for minutes, written or other, of any city meetings as deemed appropriate.
All right, thank you. So, a motion to adjourn by Alderman Moore, seconded by Alderman Scannell. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. We are adjourned. 8:15. So what is that? Mark, I gotta leave.
I brought it for Tom. The last one? I've been to four, sir. Okay. I've been to 49.
I've been to 49.
You know what? I went to New Hampshire with my buddy in college, and I was 3 miles from the Maine border. I didn't go. Why couldn't I just go? Why couldn't I just go? That bothers me. 30 years ago. Right. It's a beautiful scene.
I know, we're having lobster and looking at leaves, thank you. I know you're traveling. Oh yeah, that's your thing.
All right, good meeting.
Yep.
Next door neighbors. It's our wedding this weekend.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
And last one is before 10 a.m.
Working in the right direction.
Yeah.
They don't say a whole lot. When they call, they don't say. Brian, okay.